What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Locked in Sports, bringing you my six. That's right, we got six best bets for today, Thursday, July 18th, in the NBA Summer League. Another day, another Summer League video. Now, for this video, I'm going to try to make it a little shorter than my recent ones, talk a little bit less, so the full video is easier for you all to watch, get your picks out of, know what's going on, without sitting here for too long. So, that all being said, we got six player props for today, and at the end of the video, there'll be two total game points lines that I like a lot that you can stick around for. We've been doing pretty well with those recently. But before we talk about those, got to talk about the player props. Before we talk about the player props, got to do a recap. And quickly before the recap, I just want to say thank you all very, very much for the support on the channel recently. It's been absolutely insane. I know I keep saying it at the beginning of every video, but seriously, thank you, y'all. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for subscribing and turning on notifications. And of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn on notifications. And if you like the video, leave a comment with your own picks and parlays. It really helps out the channel a lot. A lot of effort and time goes into making these videos because these points lines get released very late, which means I tend to wake up very early, for my time zone at least, to do research. I wake up, the second I wake up, I'm doing research and all that, and I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy making these videos and seeing the likes and seeing the appreciation through subscriptions and all that means a lot. So thank you all. But with that all out of the way, I know I said to make this video faster, but seriously, just can't say thank you enough. Let's hop into a recap. So, recap of yesterday, we had a pretty good day in 4-2 day overall. With player props, we went 3-1. Great spot. Love to see it. So, what hit for us, what didn't? Let's start with what didn't. Dwayne Washington. We had him over on his points line. He went under. He just had a not great game. Not a lot to say there. But we had three hits that were some of the most sweat-free bets I've ever taken. It was almost boring watching these games because of how easy these were. Cole Swider for under 16.5. Yeah, he had 9. And even that was a good game for him. So crazy there. Kyle Filipowski over 7. He had 20. Like, duh, of course he did. Kyle Filipowski's going to get more than 7. And we had G.G. Jackson over 6 rebounds. He had 13, more than doubled the line. Him and Filipowski were just wild yesterday. Now, of course, that leaves quite a few players we took who didn't play. AJ Mitchell, Dalton Connect, and Brandon Miller all didn't play. Those picks void. It's unfortunate, but at least we're not losing money on it. All three of those guys would have won parlays for me that ended up voiding, so kind of unfortunate for me, but, we're not losing money on it. Now, for our total game points lines, just quickly recap there. One hit, one miss. Raptors versus Jazz, under 174.5. They were in the 160s, sweat-free, easy. And Lakers versus Hawks for under 173.5. Man, it ended at under 172.5. It ended at 173. It ended right there. So frustrating. Just, gut-wrenching. If any of y'all found a better line and you were able to hit with this, if you found a 173 or 174.5 line on some sportsbook, please let me know, because I seriously looked. I was trying to find a better line to hope that y'all had found a better line and made some money off this pick, because that was just so gut-wrenching. I couldn't find one anywhere. So if you found a better line, let me know in the comments down below to ease my conscience a bit, so I know that y'all still made money with the pick. But with that recap out of the way, let's hop into my 6 best bets for today. For my first pick of the day, it's a familiar name. It's a guy who we just talked about, actually. It's G.G. Jackson for over 7.5 rebounds. Why? Well, if you watched yesterday's video, it's the same reasoning, but more now. He's been over in 2 of 3, but he's been over his rebounds line in all games. But that first one, he's finding his footing a bit. He only had 6 rebounds. But his last 2 games, he's been in double digits, both of them. He had 13 last game, 11 the game before. Just blowing past this line. Zach Edey hasn't stepped onto the court for the Grizzlies in this stretch of the Summer League so far. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But honestly, I think even if Edey does play, Jackson still goes above his rebound line. Like, no doubt in my mind really there. Jackson's grabbing so many that I think even if someone else steps up and gets a few boards, G.G. Jackson's still like their main guy in the paint. He's still pulling out a lot of rebounds on both ends of the ball. Easily locking in. Again, G.G. Jackson for over 7.5 rebounds. Next up should be another familiar name from a previous video. It's Jordan Hawkins. We're taking him for under 18.5 points. Why? Well, he took 20 plus shots in his first 2 games. That's a lot of shots, but he only had over 18.5 one time. So, kind of inefficient there. In last game, his shots dropped off a cliff. He only took 8 shots. The offense was spreading the ball out more, giving it to a lot more guys, and I think that that's the Pelicans' plan moving forward, is to distribute the ball more and not just feed it to Hawkins, who doesn't have the efficiency to deserve the ball in his hands that often. So yeah, and obviously he only took 8 shots last game. He went way under this line. Yeah, that's really it. Even when he was taking a lot of shots, he wasn't consistently going over this line. And now that he's taking far fewer shots, I don't see a world where he goes over this line. And I don't see a world where the Pelicans go back to giving the ball to Hawkins on every single play. Now, they prove that spreading the ball out works well for their offense. So, taking Jordan Hawkins for under 18.5 points. Next up, I've got a pick that it pains me to take, but I have to do it. It's Alex Sarr for under 12.5 points. Yeah, if you guys have been following the Summer League, you know what this is about. He's been under this in 3 of 3, and I really considered taking his under last game he played. Ended up taking Bub Carrington's over instead, which hit for us, but Alex Sarr had 0 last game on 0 from 15 shooting. He's been scoring less and less every game, culminating in that 0 game, and there's not much else to say. It's unfortunate, and on a personal level, I would love to see Sarr step up and have a 20-point game. Really go out there and play great, but statistically, it's not going to happen. Alex Sarr, unfortunately, got to take the under 12.5 points. Now we get to look at a guy playing with Sarr, someone we took before, someone who's been really popping off, playing great. It's Bub Carrington for over 15.5 points. Look, he's been over his points line every single game. He's been over his PRA line every single game. Over this points line and this PRA line, and his previous ones too. He's going crazy. Look, I'm only taking his points here because I think his rebounds plus assists, although he's been hitting it every single game, is a little bit high. It adds 10 on top of his points line, which is a lot. And there's been games where he's only had like 9 rebounds and assists, and he's gone over the line on points alone. So I feel more confident about taking his points here. But look, simple fact of the matter is, Bub Carrington is the main source of offense for the Wizards right now. Sarr's not playing great. No one else is stepping up to the level that Bub is. And he's playing in a Summer League that really suits his play style. Summer League tends to favor sort of more old school-ish players or high-volume guards and those types of guys. And Bub Carrington fits into that role perfectly. And he's been playing great. I don't see any reason not to take, once again, Bub Carrington for over 15.5 points. For my next 2 picks, we're looking at some incredibly familiar names. Really familiar, guys we just took. Now, for this first one, I'm locking in, once again, Dalton Knecht for over 19.5 points. Why? Same reasoning as before. Look, Knecht is the main source of offense on the Lakers. He's great. And he's been in or around this line in both games he's played in this stretch of the Summer League so far. His one under, I believe he had 18 or 19 points on really rough efficiency. But what's important to me is he kept taking shots. He kept being the main source of offense. And even in a rough game where he's not shooting lights out as normal, he's still the main scorer on his team. And he still has the confidence to keep taking shots, which is what I like in a guy that we're going to back, knowing that even if he has a rough start, he's going to recover later. Now, what else is important? Why else am I taking this over? Well, the Lakers are on the second leg of a back-to-back, and they rested Knecht last night. We bet on him last night. He voided because he didn't play. Lakers were resting him in preparation, I believe, for their game tonight. They knew they could beat the Hawks without Knecht. Now they're going to pull a fresh Knecht back for this game, run the offense through him. I would not be surprised to see a 25 to 28 point game from Knecht, so I'm easily locking him in for over 19.5 points. Now for my 6th and final pick of the day, another familiar name, it's Kyle Filipowski for over, get this, 11.5 points. Dude, who is sleeping on Filipowski over in Vegas? Man, look, does this even need an explanation? We talked about this yesterday. He's been at or above 12 points every single game he's played, which is, over this line. He had 20 last game. He's only getting better every single game he plays. He's scoring more and more points. This is a no-brainer. Look, he was already over this in 2 of 2. Then he goes out there and scores 20, and they keep his line at 11.5. Look, a realistic line for Flipowski is probably 15.5, and I would even still take it there. 11.5, bet in the house, without a doubt, Kyle Flipowski for over 11.5 points. There you have it. Those were my 6 best bets for today, Thursday, July 18th, in the NBA Summer League. A lot of familiar names because there's a lot of guys that keep getting slept on. We keep capitalizing on their lines. If we make a bet on a guy and he's hitting, 2-3 times in a row for us, of course, we're going to keep taking him. Now, time for the total game points lines. I got 2 here that I like quite a lot. The first one, I'm taking Lakers versus Cavs for under 178.5 points. Why? No, both teams are only averaging about 80, which is way below this line. And look, the Cavs had one super high scoring game. They showed potential to score great against the Bucks. Dude, the Bucks defense is miserable. They're giving up so many points. They could give up 100 plus to a high school team. Of course, they're giving up 100 plus to the Cavs. Yeah, I think that says a lot more about the Bucks defense than about the Cavs offense. And both teams are only averaging scoring in around the 80s when they're not playing the Bucks, and obviously they're not playing the Bucks tonight. So I'm locking in Lakers versus Cavs for under 178.5. And we got the Clippers versus the Jazz, taking the under 179.5 there. 2 unders today. Why? Well, the Jazz are really only scoring anywhere from 70 to 80 points, and the Clippers are scoring in the 80s, but those two values combined is going to be under this points line. And also, the only outlier game, the only game that showed that maybe one of these teams has the potential to go over this line, was again the Clippers versus, again, the Bucks. Dude, this is just saying a lot more about the Bucks defense when they keep giving up 100 plus to teams that should not be scoring that much. So yeah, that says a lot more about the Bucks than about the Clippers. I don't think the Clippers are scoring 100 plus this game. I think they're scoring in the 80s, and I think the Jazz are scoring in high 70s, maybe 80s. Hey, even if the Jazz get in the 80s, still an under on the total points line. Look, at best, they're scoring under this line. So easily lock it in. Clippers versus Jazz for under 179.5. So those are my 2 total game points lines for today. Did I say that right? Total point lines for the games. Yeah. So that is going to be all for today. Thank you all very much for watching the video. Appreciate it a lot. And if you enjoyed, leave a like down below. Leave a comment with your own picks, parlays, and all that in the comment section below. Helps out the algorithm. Also helps me know that you guys like the videos, that you're engaging with them, and you like the picks. And hey, if you don't like the picks, that's cool too. Let me know down below. If you're got different opinions, you think I'm kind of stupid over here, tell me that. Honestly, it's only going to make me a better. So go ahead, talk to me in the comment section down below. And if you're new to the channel, of course, subscribe. Thank you for watching and for interacting and all of that. If you guys are fantasy football fans, there's going to be a fantasy football video on screen here or here. It's somewhere around here. Talking about the most underrated players in the NFL fantasy draft for this year. Longer form video that I like a lot that I made. So if you're a fantasy football fan, check that one out. But with that said and out of the way, thank you all very much for watching. Have a good day, and let's make some money. Yeah.